Hello, Power Bankers. I'm your host, Jacqueline, and you're listening to PowerBanking, the podcast for women leaders in male-dominated industries. Today, we're going to dive into some Q&A from the PowerBanking community that you have left for us on social media. So as always, those of you who are rocking and rolling in the PowerBanking group, I enjoy doing those lives with you. And I also appreciate your questions, but I wanted to be sure that I'm answering your questions on the podcast as well. So the first question comes from someone asking about, can you briefly give us tips on how to overcome fear to negotiate? So for those of you who are new to the podcast, I recently released my second book, which is a best-selling book. It's called Don't Leave Money on the Table, Negotiation Strategies for Women Leaders. So in the book, I definitely touch on overcoming fear. And what I'd like to do with you all today is share with you 4 fear-based reasons that really keep women from negotiating. And then from a step further from that, I'm going to give you solutions because, as you know, I am a problem solver, so I'm all about all of the solutions. So let's dive into the 4 reasons that are most common when it comes to women negotiating. And this question came from Elaine. So Elaine, thank you for popping in this question. So, number 1, they're afraid that they might say the wrong thing. A lot of women say, the reason why I didn't negotiate is because I didn't want to say the wrong thing and risk being judged, the offer being pulled, etc., which is wrapped into some of our other reasons. So moving to number 2, they're nervous that if they ask, it will be taken the wrong way, meaning that they will be perceived as greedy, ungrateful, unprepared, so on and so forth. The third reason is that they think that asking means they won't get anything. And the fourth is that they're in a situation that requires an immediate out, and they think that by asking there won't be a way out. So what I mean by that is, let's say a current job situation is really stressful and that person doesn't want to move forward with asking for more in a job offer because the current job situation is so bad that they just need something. Something is better than nothing. So I want to hop into these solutions. Here's the truth. If you don't ask, you will be waiting and waiting. It is a proven fact that in work, if you think that just working, keeping your head down, doing the stuff, and hoping that someone will notice and give you a promotion or a raise, it's not going to happen, because oftentimes when you're keeping your head down and you're just doing the work and you are not expressing your career aspirations, no one knows how to support you and help you achieve your goals if you do have the type of supportive team who wants to see you advance. So you have to make your aspirations known. It's also the case that it's very rare in a job offer that the first offer is the best offer. So if you think that you should just accept the first thing that comes to you, the chances are you're most likely leaving money on the table, because a company is expecting that you will negotiate with them. So they're giving themselves some wiggle room, some buffer room inside of that initial offer, waiting for you to come back. So don't talk yourself out of a counter offer. It's more important that you go into this prepared, which is what I cover inside of the book, that preparation strategy. And I'm just going to briefly give you that 5-step framework. The acronym is LATTE. L, look at the details. A, anticipate challenges. T, think about your walkaway point. The second T, talk it through. And E, evaluate your options. Okay, so That's how you go into your counter offer. When you use that 5-point framework, you're not going to be stumbling and fumbling over your words because you've done the adequate preparation. And just a side tip, 80% of your negotiation is in the preparation. So don't skip the preparation. Now, women who don't negotiate their first job offer, they stand to lose over $500,000 in the course of their career. And that's according to Sarah Lasseter and Linda Babcock from their book, Women Don't Ask. So y'all think about that for a second. $500,000 in the course of their career, that is some serious money being left on the table. So, if you've already passed that first job offer, you're well into your career, which I know a lot of you who are listening to this podcast, you are, don't worry. It's better to start now than never. Now, when you let fear talk you out of asking for what you want, you leave money on the table. And I created an online course that you can complete over a weekend that will walk you through the framework so that whether you're preparing for a performance review, going into a new job offer, or you're negotiating to be on a special project that will give you increased visibility at work, this course is going to give you the roadmap so that you level up and you don't leave any money on the table. So I want to thank you for that question, Elaine. And that was the 4 reasons that hold women back, those fear-based reasons. But I hopped into some solutions to help you to debunk those myths. And like I said, also, I go into much greater detail in the book, Don't Leave Money on the Table, which is available on Amazon in ebook or paperback format. So I want to answer one more question for you all today before we go. And that question is, I'm feeling stuck in my career, Jacqueline. And this question is from Kanish. And Kanish, I hope that I'm pronouncing your name right. So if I'm not saying it properly, just shoot me a DM on Instagram with the proper pronunciation. So you're feeling a little stuck in your career is your question, and you want to know what are the steps that you need to take to accelerate. So 1, thank you for trusting me with your question. And here's the deal. When you're feeling stuck in your career, the fact that you have recognized that you're stuck, that is a good sign because now you can do something about it and you can move forward. I used to teach a really popular class once a month when I lived in Atlanta, and I offer this in Dallas now that I'm based in Dallas from time to time. And it's the course that's called You Took the Job to Get Your Foot in the Door, Now What? So what I'm going to do is share with you some of the philosophy from that to help you to get unstuck in your career. 1, what is it that you do not like doing? Because I found that once we get clear on what we don't like to do, it helps us to gain clarity in what we do want to do. So what I would advise you to do, Kanish, is write down a list of the things that you don't want to do in your career. And from that, you'll be able to gain some insight into the things that you do want to do. Now, the second thing, which is really important, is be clear on the type of salary you're looking to bring in. So this is another step in eliminating jobs. What you don't want to do is one filter. The type of money you want to make is another filter. It helps you get unstuck because it helps you to start getting clarity on which area you want to move to. Now, once you do that, then I want you to act like a kid. Step number 3. Act like a kid and dream big. What would you do if you weren't afraid? With technology, it has become so much more acceptable to switch careers, to switch lanes, to switch industries because you have transferable skills. So once you get clear on the type of money you want to make, think, okay, what would I do if I weren't afraid? And then from that list of things, go back to those filters of what you don't want to do and the type of money you do want to make and say, okay, what is a realistic next step? If your goal, let's say you're a teacher now and you want to be a fashion designer, and I don't know Kanisha's background, but I'm just using this as an example. You might not go to being on the New York Fashion Week runway right out of the gate, but there are some steps in between that can help you to become a fashion designer. So that would be a little bit of research on your part, that roadmap to get from where you are to where you want to go, keeping in mind what your salary expectation is. And I'm harping on this because you don't always have to take a step back financially in order to move to get unstuck and move forward in your career. But if you go into a situation understanding this is what my salary expectations are, these are the things that I want to do, you can better align your actions with the type of money you're going to make sure that as you make a transition, you're doing that in the most comfortable manner possible. Now, change can be uncomfortable. That is a given. A little bit of the unknown can be nerve-wracking. However, when you're trying to get unstuck, you're going to have to move past your comfort zone to do things that you haven't done before. So thank you both for the questions today. I know it's been a minute since I have answered questions for you all, but it's always my pleasure to do that here on the PowerBanking podcast as well as in the PowerBanking Facebook group. So if you have a question, make sure you send those questions in and we will do another listener Q&A. Until next time, PowerBanking family, continue to emulate excellence and eliminate excuses. Gotta give a special thank you to our episode sponsor, Anchor.fm. Listen, if you're thinking about starting a podcast, Anchor is the way to do it. This is why. 1, it's free to get started. They have tools that allow for you to record from your phone or your computer, and they handle the distribution on all of the places where you find podcasts. So if you want to start a podcast, this is the one-stop shop to get it all done. Download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor.fm to get started. If you have a suggestion for a guest for an upcoming episode of PowerBanking, we are now accepting requests for 2020. So let us know what women who are working in traditionally male-dominated industries inspire you, because we want to talk to them on the PowerBanking podcast. Just send an email to info@zerogap.co. And there's no M on that, info@zerogap.co with the subject line podcast guest. We'll talk to you soon.